Hi there, this is going to be a tutorial on using Google Forms with Google Classroom. Google Forms is great for collecting answers from students. They can be in the form of a quiz, it can be a simple worksheet with comprehension questions, you can have more analytical questions. You have lots of possibilities. Today I'm going to show you how to use Google Forms using multiple choice questions, which the computer will grade for you, short answer questions, which the computer can grade for you, and then also paragraph questions and how Google Forms makes it fairly easy to grade those. Okay, there are a couple of ways that you can start the Google form and assigning it to your kids. One is to go to classwork and then click create. You can click create assignment, and what create assignment will do is will actually create a blank quiz Google form for you, and then you can open that up and you can start from there. That's an easy way to do it. You can also simply go to a different tab, go to forms.google.com, and then click here, blank quiz. It is important that you want a blank quiz for this and not just a blank form, because the quiz will give you a few other options in terms of grading it and importing it into your classroom. All right, I'm just going to use the blank quiz that it gave to me, so I'm going to close this and go back here. First thing that you want to do, of course, is title it. And then if you want to, you can give the form description here. This part is optional, of course, but for this particular assignment, I need my students to know exactly which pages that I need them to read. So I'm going to put that there. Next, I'm going to start adding questions. So I just click here where it says untitled question, and I just type in my question. So for this one, I'm going to have a multiple choice question. The tone of the first paragraph could best be described as. Now note that multiple choice is already the option that it gave to me. As you can see, there are several options here. Short answer, paragraph, and multiple choice are the ones that I'm going to be going through today, but there are several others that you might want to check out at a later time. Google Forms will also, when you're typing in the question, try to figure out what type of question that you're going to ask. And in this case, it guessed correctly. I do want the multiple choice, so I'm going to leave that there. Now for multiple choice questions, I need to put options. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to start typing in my options. And then I have two options to move on. I can add another option, which is what I want. You can also click add other, and an other will simply give the option for the students to put other. So it's not one of those particular choices that you wrote in. I don't want an other though. I want them to only choose the options that I give to them. So I'm going to click here and I'm going to continue typing. And then I'm going to add another option. In fact, I'm going to have 5 options, so I'm just going to keep going until I have all 5 options, which I do now. Next, I want to give this an answer key. So I'm going to click here on the bottom of this question, click on answer key, and there are a few things that I can do here. The first thing that I want to do is give it a point value, so I can make it however many points that I want. This one is just going to be worth 1 point, so I'm going to click there. And then I can also say which answer is the correct answer, which is this one right here. Now, the great thing about giving the answer key to the computer is that the computer will now grade this multiple choice question for me, and I don't have to worry about taking the time to do that myself. You also have the option to add answer feedback here. This is completely optional, of course, but if you want to give feedback, especially for those students who give incorrect answers, you certainly can. And you just kind of type in something that will help them understand why the correct answer was the correct answer. For multiple choice questions, if you think that they guessed and you still want them to understand why that's the correct answer, you can just put good and then put the exact same thing that you did for the other one and then click save. Like I said, though, feedback is completely optional, and if you don't have the time, then you can just leave that part alone. Then I'm going to click Done, and I'm going to click Required, and that will make sure that the students do answer the question. So if they miss a question or they skip it, they scroll down too quickly, the form won't let them submit until they go back and finish that question. And that's it for the multiple choice. So the next thing that I want to show you is a short answer question. Short answer questions are primarily for simple comprehension questions that will roughly have the same answers from everyone. So for example, if I wanted to check to make sure that my students were reading and I just wanted to ask them who gave the speech in chapter 1 of Animal Farm, what is the name of the animal Now notice that it automatically changed to short answer, and that's what Google Forms will do. It'll try to figure out which type of question that you are trying to ask. Okay, and this is going to be a short answer text, so it's just going to have a line for the students to put their answers on. I'm going to go here to answer key again, and I'm going to, again, make this worth 1 point. And if I want the computer to grade this for me, I can add a correct answer here. So, for example, I'm going to put old major here. And this is how I would want my students to write it, but I know that not all of them will capitalize everything, and it is going to be case sensitive, et cetera. So I'm actually going to put as many possibilities as I can think of that they might put and that I would still accept as correct answers. And what these are going to do is these will allow the computer to say, yes, these each will get 1 point. The teacher has said that all of these deserve 1 point. So the computer will automatically give you or give those students that point. Anything that falls outside of these, you can have it mark all others, all other answers incorrect. I usually leave that blank and just leave it up to me. So it'll leave everything else that is not one of these as blank, and I will get to decide if it deserves the point or not. Again, I can add answer feedback if I would like to. I'm not going to for this one, so I'm just going to click done, and I'm all set for the short answer. Note that the computer already knows that I want everything to be required, so it's doing that for me too, which is nice. Okay, and now I'm going to show you one more possibility, and that is going to be a paragraph question. These are questions, obviously, that will have longer answers and that the computer will not be able to grade for you. So I'm just going to put something like, what is the point of view of this passage, and explain how you know using textual evidence. For this one, the student answers will vary so much that it would be impossible for the computer to grade it, so you're going to have to do that. You still do want to go to answer key and give it a number of points. Notice that it doesn't allow you to put the correct answer here because there is no set correct answer. You still can add answer feedback, though, if you want your students to get some feedback, but I'm just going to give them my own feedback when I grade it. I'm going to click done, and I am all set. So now I have a 3-question quiz that I'm ready to give to my students. But first I need to make sure that it has all of the parameters that I want my students to have. So I'm going to go over here to settings and click on that. And as you can see, there are 3 tabs: general, presentation, and quizzes. I'm going to click on quizzes first because that's the one that has most of the parameters that I need to look at. Now, since I chose blank quiz for the form in the first place, it has already marked this, make this a quiz. So that's what you want to have done. So make sure that that's clicked on. This part, locked mode on Chromebooks, is great, but only when we're actually in school. And since we're not going to do that. But this, just for future reference, locks the Chromebooks so that the students cannot open other tabs or applications while taking the quiz, so they can't look up answers, which is really nice. This one right here, release grade, is pretty important. You can release grades immediately after each submission. Now, this one would really only work if you have all multiple choice questions and you don't mind the students knowing what their scores are right away. This one is what I'm going to click on later after manual review. This just gives me a little bit more control about when the scores are released to the students. Plus, I have some things that I need to manually grade anyway, so that's the one that I want for this one. Then I go down here, respondent can see, and these 3 you do need to understand. So the missed questions, as you can see, identify which questions were answered incorrectly. This one I click off because I don't want my students to share their answers. So if one student finishes before another student, they would understand which questions they at least missed, and they could kind of share answers that way. So I'm going to click that one off. The correct answers I can keep clicked because it's going to show the correct answers for each question after the grades are released. And that's fine for me because I'm going to have them reflect on the answers that they answered incorrectly, so I'm going to leave that on. And then point values just allows them to see what each question is worth, so I'm going to leave that on, and that's it for that section. So I'm going to go to presentation just to show you what's on there. Show progress bar, you can click it, you can not click it. It will just basically show you kind of what the students are answering. It's especially helpful for the multiple choice questions and not so much for the other questions until after you've graded them. Shuffle question order is exactly what it sounds like. So that's what you would do if you wanted to do that. It helps alleviate some cheating, but in distance learning, I'm probably not going to click that, and then show link to submit another response. I'm going to unclick that because they are only allowed to have one response for this particular assignment. And that's it for this section. Next, I'm going to go to General. This one, collect email addresses, will already be checked with for you because it's already a quiz, so you want that. You don't have to have response receipts, so don't worry about that one. This one, restrict users to Glendale Unified, I think is a good idea, and I am going to limit to one response for this one because it's an assignment. I just want them to do it once. Below here, edit after submit. So if you want your students to say, oh my gosh, I didn't mean old major, I meant boxer, and you want them to be able to go back and edit after they submit it, you can click that. I don't want them to, so I'm not going to click it. And then see summary charts and text responses is something that I don't deal with either. Once you're done, make sure you click save so that it's saved. Actually, before I go back, I want to title it over here. So I'm going to actually just use this title. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to paste it right here. And now I'm all set to give it as the quiz. So I'm going to go back to my classwork right here. This blank quiz is the quiz that I've been working on, so you can just leave it there. I'm going to give it the same assignment title as it had on the quiz, and then I can give some instructions here if I want, just as normal. Give it the points that you want, the due date, the topics, everything is the same as usual, and then you're going to click Assign. All right, so let's say some time has passed and now I'm ready to grade the Google form. Simply need to go to the assignment. It's right here. I can also go to Classwork and it would be in there as well. You just need to click on that and it will take you here. This is where I'm going to be able to see who has turned it in. Both of my students have turned it in, so I'm all set there. And I am ready to grade the portions and import the grades. So I'm going to click on the Google form itself here. And it's going to take me to something that looks like just the test itself. So what I need to do though, however, is go here to edit this form so that I can see the responses. So again, I'm just going to see the quiz itself here, but right here, responses, and as you can see, I have 2 responses, which is my entire class for this particular sample class, so everyone's there. The first page here is going to be a summary. It's not going to be very useful right now. It's going to show me what the computer was able to grade, but it won't obviously be able to show me anything else. So as you can see, I have 2 students. One so far has a grade of 0. One has already earned 2 points here. You can see the bar graph showing which students answered which questions. So if you have a multiple choice question, you can see, oh, wow, I have a lot of students who answered it correctly, or wow, a lot of them chose the wrong answer, or whatever. That will help you with your decision to reteach anything if necessary. It will also show you down here what the students said, all of the students said for each of the other questions as well. For grading though, you can do it one of 2 ways. You can do it by question or by individual. I love doing it by question. I think it makes it go so much faster, and this is what it's going to look like. So the first question here, and I'm on question 1 of 3, which was the multiple choice, and you can view the options if you need to remind yourself there too. And the computer, as you can see, has already scored everything for me because this was a question that only had one right answer anyway. So as you can see, computer already gave 1 point to people who gave the correct answer and 0 points to people who did not. If you ended up deciding that you want to give half points for people who did that, or for who got it wrong, you can do that as well. I'm going to leave it as 0, so I'm just going to move on. I'm going to click here to go to the next question. And this next question was, what is the name of the animal who gives the important speech about rebellion in the first chapter? Again, you can show, okay, these are the answers that I said were okay. And as you can see here, one student did give one of those answers. So the computer already gave that person 1 point. As you can see right here, the person put Old Major but misspelled it. So the computer did not give a point for that. It didn't give it a 0, so it didn't mark it wrong, but it also didn't mark it right. So if you click the X, it will just automatically mark it incorrect and give it a 0. If you click the check, it'll automatically give it a 1. You can also, again, give it half points, 0.5. And you'd be all set there. You do need to make sure that you click save. If you want to see who is giving which responses. You can click on one response. It's not going to give the student's name. It's just going to give the student's ID number, which in this case is their email, but you can kind of figure it out from there. You'll be able to see what the scores are for each student a little bit later once you import them into Google Classroom. All right, so that is the short answer responses. Now let's look at the third question, which was the paragraph. This is the one, remember that the computer could not grade for us, so we have to grade all of this. This one, the point of view, notice that all of the answers are right here on one page, so you just kind of get to go down the line and you can just mark incorrect or correct and make it as simple as that. Or again, you can decide to give half points. Let's look at this one, third person omniscient. Yes, that's right, that's right. They give textual evidence. That one's perfect, so I'm just gonna click check. This one says the point of view is third person, which is mostly right, although I wanted third person omniscient. You can tell it's third person because the narrator never says I, so it's not first person. Okay, so that's fine. And again, I'm going to give this person probably 0.7, oopsie, 0.7, and leave it at that. Now, if I want her to know why she got 0.7 and not the full credit, I can always add feedback. I can let her know that she needed to just be a little bit more specific, that the correct answer was third person omniscient, and also that she needed a little more textual evidence. And then I can click save, and she will be able to see that as soon as she's able to see her form again. Then I'm going to click save so that everything is saved. And that's it. I'm done grading my quiz. Now, all of these responses were connected to the Google Classroom. So all I need to do now is go back to my Google Classroom. And in order for me to see their scores, I'm going to click over here where it says import grades. Just click on that. Are you sure you want to import grades? Importing grades will overwrite the current grades in Classroom. That's fine. Import. And there you are. I can see that Catalina got 3 of 3 and Sydney got 1.2 out of 3. And that's all set. If I feel like 1.2 is still unfair, I can always override that and change it if I so desire. And that's it. So let me know if you have any questions. Thanks a lot.